Mohammed, we come to a very interesting topic, I believe now, and that is wills according to Sharia law. Now, I'm guessing we could talk for hours upon hours about this.
It is correct.
Okay, well, let's try and...
There is a science in Islamic law of inheritance.
Okay.
And this is something, we can talk about it for hours.
Well, give us the headlines. What are the guidelines? What should we know when it comes to Sharia law, specifically with wills?
Look, according to Islamic law, the shares are written in Surah Nisa between verses 11 to 14. That's chapter 4 and verse 176. So it's black and white who gets what. The issue is in the UK, they don't implement Sharia law. They have their own law.
Okay.
So the question I ask everyone, if you know you're getting more,
then you are due.
Then you're due according to Islamic law. Will you take the additional or the extra amount, or will you say, sorry, according to Islamic law, this is my share, and this should go back to that person? So technically what you're doing, you're waiving your right. So let's say you get in, I don't know, £50, but you know, wait a minute, my share is really £30, but this £20 doesn't belong to me. The law of the land says, no, Faisal, it's your money, but according to Islamic law, you only owed 30. So what are you going to do?
But I guess it's about consequence. I mean, what are the consequences one way or another?
We got to face our Creator one day, Faisal.
Sure.
Now, I'm not here to judge you, and I'm sure you're not judging me, but you took £20 extra.
Sure.
You shouldn't have. And I told you, or there's a clear cut, what you should be taking. So it's between you and your maker.
So this is a moral issue, clearly a battle in your mind.
It is clearly a moral issue. However, there is Islamic text to that what the punishment is,
right,
for you taking that additional £20. I'm not saying it. I mean, I'm not going to say this is what I'm saying. I'm going to give you the facts, what's written.
Sure.
So what I'm trying to get to, the shares are prescribed. There's no if, no but. So let's take an example. Let's say you have £100. Okay, let's keep it very simple.
Sure.
Your mother and father's alive, you have a wife, and you have children. So according to Islamic law, your mother and father would take 16.66 each. Your wife would take 12.5%, and the balance will go to your children, 2 shares to the son, 1 share to the daughter. That's it. Right. I'll say that again. £100, 1/6 to your mother, 1/6 to your father, 12.5 to your wife, balance to your children, 2 shares to the son, 1 share to the daughter. Now, let's say you have no parents. The wife takes 12.5, balance 2 shares to the son, 1 share to the daughter.
Right, so it's very clear.
Very clear. Let's say you have no sons and no parents, so there's no male heir. Your wife takes 12.5, daughter takes 50%. If there's 2 daughters, it's 66.66% shared equally between the 2 daughters. So technically they take a third each.
Sure.
1/8 to the wife, and the balance will go 2 shares to your brother, 1 share to your sister.
So it's all very clearly written.
It's black and white, Faisal. Everything's black and white. Like I said to you, and when we sort of opened this discussion, if you knew that this £20 is not yours, sorry, I don't mean to put the spotlight on you.
Fair enough.
Would you take it or give it back to the rightful person? Forget the law of the country.
Sure.
The law of the country, what they say is up to them. I'm asking you, would you keep that 20 or give it back to the rightful heir?
I guess in my defense, I would argue that I wouldn't understand Sharia law, and I could even argue I wouldn't even consider that would impact my situation.
Everyone's different. So now let's talk about, why is the money split up in these shares?
Yeah.
You know, why is mother, father... You know, in France, let me tell you a story. Well, not story, let me give you a fact. If a French man, French national, want to will everything to his wife, do you know according to French law he can't do it?
Really? Because?
Because they have a system in France, in Europe to be exact, called forced heirship. In other words, the wife take 50% and the children take 50%. Why do you think it's 50-50?
No idea.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you gave everything to your husband, to your wife, so you're no more, your wife gets all the money, what happens if she remarry tomorrow?
always a dilemma, but that money will be split if they get separated, I guess. Or it becomes joint money between my wife, ex-wife maybe or whatever, and her new partner,
Who are the losers?
the kids. Clear.
In Europe, what they say, 50-50. So in the UK, you can make a will to the cats and dogs home. Yeah?
Sure.
Do what you like. It's your money. So one day you might meet a woman half your age. She makes a fool out of you.
We live in hope.
Yeah. 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 She makes a fool out of you. You make a will. You give everything to her. In other words, in the UK, they have a system called free testamentary rights. Do what you like. They don't care. You want to give it to the cats and dogs home? You want to will it to charity? You want to give it to your mistress? It's your money. In Europe, they say, wait a minute, it's going 50-50. You only have discretion over 25%.
25%.
25%. So let's say you have a sister who's financially dependent on you. You only can give her 25% of your money. But the balance 75 will be split 50-50 between your wife and your children.
That's fixed.
That's fixed. Islamic law takes it one step ahead and elevates your mother and father. Your mother and father who raised you, clothed you, fed you, sacrificed for you, they're entitled to 1/6 each. That's why the parents are legal heirs. If we look across Europe, UK, many countries in the world, parents, when they reach a certain age, they're not having enough money, maybe they're not well, they are living in poverty. And the children are willing everything to the wife and children, they don't get a penny. That's why you might have seen cases where parents have died. They couldn't even put food on the table. They don't even have enough money to turn the central heating on. Islamic law gives them a right of 1/6 each.
But should the will then therefore be written according to Sharia
According
law?
to Islamic law, you only can make a will of up to 1/3.
Right. Okay.
1/3. So in France, you only can make a will of up to 25%.
Right.
According to Islamic law, you only can make a will of up to 1/3, but that 1/3 cannot go back to a legal heir. Your wife is taking 12.5%. She's already a legal heir.
Right.
Your mother and father's taking 1/6 each. They're already legal heirs. So you can't give the 1/3 back to them. But if you have a brother or sister or a nephew or a niece, or let's say there's someone who you want to look after or benefit from your money, you have a discretion of up to 1/3. But the 1/3 in the will is really for charitable reasons. So let's say you pass away and you want to give money to charity. That is the objective of the 1/3, is to get an ongoing reward when you're dead in your grave. Because as Muslims, we believe when we pass away, our book is closed.
Sure.
So whatever good deeds you've done in your life is one thing. But you can say, according to the will, you have one last chance to give in charity, hopefully to a charity that's going to give you ongoing reward when you're dead in the grave. That's the 1/3 you are allowed to make. Otherwise, the 2/3 are written in stone who's getting what.
So what are we saying in reality here? And what would be your advice, your guidance?
For Muslims.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we are talking about Islamic law. So I'm referring to the Muslims, and I don't want to get involved in any different school of thoughts.
Sure.
I'm just talking about Islamic law, and I'm talking about the shares that are written in the Holy Book, in Surah Nisa, verses 11 to 14 and 176. Whoever the legal heirs are, the shares are XYZ. It's clear cut. Similar, if you talk about inheritance tax, it's 40%, not 45%.
Sure.
Not 35%, 40%. So when you look at the shares, it's clear cut.
Sure.
That's it. The point I'm trying to get to is that the law is there and is there for a reason. And our Creator knows the system better than we do. We can hit our heads on the brick walls to try and want to know, why is the daughter getting half than the son?
Sure.
Or why is the wife shared this much? Our Creator knows better. We shouldn't be questioning it. We should be following it with our hearts open.
Sure. And I sort of sense from this, and you don't have to answer this, Mohammed, but I'm sensing from this, if you were asked an opinion, your view would be to go with Sharia law.
Of course, because at the end of the day, this is something prescribed to us.
Sure.
It's like, I don't know what sort of example I can give, But the law is written, it's there black
Sure.
and white. So that's why I say there's no room for any if or but. You
Sure.
need to follow the law.
Okay.
And there is a wisdom in the shares.
Sure.
And believe me, I can give you hundreds of examples where the shares made sense.
Okay. Well, I guess there is a moral consideration there for Muslims to consider.
There is.
And that's probably the parting thought that we will leave with our listeners, and for them to think about what you've said, what's important, what's right, what happens later in life to us, and how we will be dealt with and viewed
Exactly.
afterwards.
Like I said, we've got to face our Creator one day.
Sure.
And this is a fact people need to understand. We come in this world with an expiry date.
Sure.
Okay, we're going to leave this world at the due date, not a minute more or a minute less. When we go, we got to face our Creator, and He'll be asking us a list of questions. And one of them would be, how do you deal with your inheritance?
Sure. And well, look, Mohammed, thank you very much for that important information for us all to think about and
It's my pleasure.
to take away. Thank you very much indeed, Mohammed. Good to see you.
Thank you very much,
Bye-bye.
Faisal.